Welcome along, ladies and gentlebreds. We are ready for bronze. We are here in Imola, or Emilia Romagna, if you want to call it that. Well, whoever knows. But yes, a few drivers then just getting ourselves ready to get ourselves started for round 6 of season 10 of Bronze. If you didn't know where you were, that's where you are. And we're here to get ourselves started then. 20 drivers are in the lobby then. Hopefully we'll get that ticking countdown in just a jiffy then. Welcome along then to the stream. Viet number 1, says Serious Mushroom then, as he takes to the Alpine machine once again then on this lovely Tuesday evening, and we'll see how the race is going to unfold as we do get ourselves underway then here in Imola then for Bronze, of course, after a round of action in Imola then, of course, from Gold on Sunday. Then Monday night was yesterday. Very good stuff indeed. I know my calendar. But Monday night was silver yesterday, and that was a fantastic race as well then. And hopefully we'll have even more of a fantastic race tonight then from Bronze as well. So there we go then. Adam has said then, evening all, and looking forward to my debut as well. Then, of course, we've got a few debutantes in the session, or a couple of debutantes in the session tonight. So we'll go through them when we get into qualifying. Then 0-0 wings for Stephen Anthony as well then, or Dadbod Anthony, or Dadbod 88, I should say, sorry. But we'll see how that's going to fare then. If 0-0 wings around here might be a bit difficult, then we'll find out as we get ourselves now into qualifying. Then a bit overcast here, but no rain on the horizon, or potentially rain on the horizon, but no rain currently falling then in the pit lane, unless there's some around the circuit. Then we'll have to find out, but we will get ourselves started for qualifying in just a jiffy then. Only Ginger runs 0-0 wings then, my goodness me then. That is why he is so fast, and we can't even see him because he's that quick. But there we are. So very good stuff indeed. We will get ourselves loaded into qualifying. We'll run through the classification of the standings as they are after Miami, and there we go then. All 20 drivers are loaded in and ready to go. Let's have a look at the classification then from Miami. Then, of course, 5 rounds have been completed. Then this is the 6th round of the season. 20 rounds over the whole season. That is. Dynamo Dan leads the way then with 87 points and a fantastic run of form then for Dynamo Dan. Of course, his foes that have been unfortunately having a bit of a difficulty then in the previous races or so. Then Smithy Almighty with a fantastic win in Miami last week. Then gets himself up into P2 in the Drivers' Championship. Then 68 points then, so he's 19 behind the current leader then of Dynamo Dan. 65 points then in P3 is Rosa Sky then, after a couple of difficult races, unfortunately for Rosa. Hopefully he can turn that back around then, because he looked formidable then in the opening 2 or 3 rounds of the season as well. Then Reflection in P4 and Rocket Lee in P5 for Aston Martin. Then both of them have had fantastic races throughout this season so far, and looking to repeat the feat then, of course, here in Imola as well. Then we did see, I think it was a 1-3, wasn't it, a couple of rounds ago then, from the Aston Martin outfit in Saudi Arabia, I believe it was. So hopefully they'll be looking to try and repeat that as well then here in Imola. Hungry Styles then in P6, then of course did have a run in P3 in the championship as well a couple of rounds ago as well. Unfortunately, it was devastating indeed last week to see Styles get a puncture on the final lap then, after leading the race for a large majority of it as well then. So a big shame there for Styles. Still got some points then in that race as well, to be fair, but very, very unlucky then with the puncture then for Hungry Styles as well there. He's in P6 then. Stan then in P7 then for the McLaren team. Then Mushroom into P8 then in the Alpine outfit then, and Jamie then rounds off P9 then with the McLaren team as well. So Mushroom in a bit of a McLaren sandwich as it stands after Miami, that is, but hopefully he'll be able to try and do something about that then here tonight. Here we go with Marvsky then rounding off the top 10 for bronze in the McCrady's. In the constructors, then Williams lead the way with Dynamo Dan and Stephen Anthony, then 119 points. Only 2 points behind, though, now is Aston Martin with Reflection and Rocket Lee, and they have been storming up the field in the championship order as well, then in terms of the constructors as well. There's Ferrari then up into P3, then after Smithy's win, Smithy and Winnie then in the Ferrari, then 95 points, so a bit of a margin then to the top 2 for the time being. Then Kick Sauber in P4 with 89 points, then only 6 points away from the top 3 place. McLaren in P5, then Alpine in P6, Racing Bulls P7, Mercedes in P8 then, and Red Bull in P9, with Haas bringing up the rear then at the moment, that is, with P10. cracking stuff. All right, then let's have a look and see what's going on track, shall we? And we'll find out now, because we've got Umabro then on the circuit, then in the green machine, and we go through then into into sector 2, I should say. Then goodness me, I've lost me corners already. Then as we go through, then are you serious mushroom? Then says Howsey. Then yes, it is. It's the one and only serious mushroom. Then rain is possible, says serious mushroom as well. Then rain, it says Styles as well. Then yo, says Jake the Slayer, and anyone done only done 5 laps then, says Howsey as well. Then of course he was a late recruitment into the lobby then after a late dropout as well, but there we go then. A wet start, says Mushroom. Goodness me, oh goody, says Howsey as well. Then I think I like the wet, but not haven't raced the track in the dry on 25 as well. Then we'll have to wait and see then how it's going to unfold then for a debutant then as well then in ALR. Then that is Howsey. Then as Umabro sets a 16.6 to get ourselves underway in qualifying, but there we go. Then we've got 2 debutants, I believe, tonight. Then we've got Stead in the Haas, then in place of Liam, I believe it is. Yes, it's Liam. Unfortunately, he's not racing tonight. Then Reflection does a 15.3 then, and looking very formidable indeed in the Aston Martin once again. But there we go. So far, so good then. As we got, like I said, go back to the debutants. We've got Howsey then in the McLaren. He is taking the place then of Jamie as well. Then last minute as well then for Howsey then. So hopefully he can have a good race on his debut as well then in ALR as well. And of course, Stead is also debuting in ALR as well. Then he joined last week then from Marquis as well. So looking to see how he's going to fare then in the Haas then in place of Liam. Then Marvsky with the 16.6 puts himself on the second row of the grid. And who's the other reserve? I'm very sorry, I completely missed who it is. It's Chlorine Pilot, of course, then in the Red Bull then for Decanco tonight then. And we'll see what Chlorine Pilot can do then. He's on a 16.2. He's having a bit of a spin then through the second chicane, but has got himself back underway then and out of the way then of that McLaren coming through as well then. Good stuff. That McLaren is sad and then looking to try and improve, currently on P7 in his championship order. We'll see what he can do then here tonight then in Imola as well. Then looking good indeed so far, heading through sector 2 into Aqua Minerale. Then Mercedes then swapping places then earlier on in sector 2 through the over the hill. Then that's a bit squirrely then on the exit then, I think, for the McLaren. But we'll see what he can do then as he heads into the Tamburillo chicane. And so far so good then as we go down the hill now towards the final sector then into those final 2 corners that you need to maximise the pace in, maximise the pace out as well then to make sure you get a good lap time on the board then, but I wouldn't know what I'm talking about there. So here we go then into the second Ravazza then for the McLaren, sorry, of San up to the line. What's it going to be then for his first time on the board? It's P3 with a 16.6 then. Good stuff indeed, onto the second row of the grid. For the time being, that is. But there we are then, looking very good indeed for a Reflection, and he is almost a second clear then of his rivals then from P2 downwards as well then. Marv's coming back into the pit lane. Jake the Slayer 17.0 puts himself P6 as well then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Stead with a 20.0 then, his first time on the board in this qualifying session. Here comes Styles then up the hill then towards sector 3. What can Styles do? Can he try and turn the form around then after a very difficult... well, it wasn't anything to turn around really, was there? It was just the unluckiness of the puncture then in the last round on the final lap. Let's see if he can keep up the form, I should say, as we head into the first of the Ravazzas then for the Racing Bull driver. Then let's see where it's going to be then for Styles, rounding that second and final corner then, heading up to the line now for the Racing Bull. There's a bit of grass on the tyre then as we go through up to the line. It's P1 with a 15.2 from Styles. Looking very impressive then, forgetting all of the heartbreak then in the last round, I should say, then in Miami. Then he has got himself back on pole position. Then of course he did start from pole position in Miami as well. Then let's see what he can do then here tonight then, but looking very good indeed on his first outing here in Emilia Romagna. Very good stuff. Where's Dynamo Dan then? Dynamo Dan is heading down the hill. No, he's not. He's heading up the hill then into Aqua Minerale very shortly. But of course, first time on the board then, of course, championship leader then is Dynamo Dan then, looking to hold on to that championship lead, of course, in here tonight then. That front right doesn't even look like it's on the tarmac, does it there? So that's a bit of an odd one there. But heading now into the final chicane, purple in sector 2. That's looking promising indeed then for Dynamo Dan then. Can he keep it all together then, heading down the hill towards the first of the Ravazzas as well then. We'll see what it's going to be then from Dynamo Dan on his first outing. 11 minutes left of qualifying, so there's still time to go around then for all 20 drivers as well here. But we come into the final stretch then for Dynamo Dan. What's it going to be then for the Williams driver? It's going to be P3 with a 16.0. Puts himself on the second row of the grid as it stands. Good stuff indeed. Good stuff indeed. And we've got, I think we've got Sam then back out on a lap as well. Then, oh dear, that's a bit squirrely then from McLaren. I think that might have cost him a bit of time. Then he is still improving by 0.2 of a second though. I don't think that will gain him any places unless he can find more time in the final sector. And then let's see what it's going to be then from Sam. Maybe he fueled up for an extra run then in the McLaren. We'll wait and see. 10 minutes left to go then in qualifying. Then we're still only not even halfway through the qualifying session so far, but it's been absolutely fantastic for me because I'm already out of breath, and that's how you know that the qualifying's been pretty good. So here we go then for Sam, then up to the line. He has improved by 0.4 of a second, and he claims P4 then onto the second row then for the McLaren here in Imola. Fantastic stuff indeed then for Sam. Good. Very good indeed. Mr. Lee's done a 41.8. I'm not sure that's competitive then from the Alpine machine. He might have to go again then in this session, I would imagine. Here comes Rocket Lee then. Can he rocket to pole position then? Here he comes up to the line. It's a 15.1. He takes pole position away from Styles then, and Styles is in an Aston Martin sandwich at the moment. But there we go. Think of that what you will then. But Rocket Lee then rocketing back to pole position then, where he's very familiar with in bronze as well then. Let's see what he can do then in this in the next part of qualifying as well. Then can Hungry Styles, can his teammate Reflection, can Dynamo Dan, Sand or Chlorine Pilot then try and take the fight then for that pole position here in this lovely Emilia Romagna circuit? We'll have to find out then in just a jiffy. Then Stephen Anthony on track then. Hopefully he's not using those 0-0 wings that he did threaten us with. He will be very, very quick down the main straight, but unfortunately not so much down the rest of the circuit. But there we go. As Sam then just getting out of the way, I think that is, as he goes through then into the Tamburillo chicane, and very nicely done indeed so far for the Williams of Stephen Anthony as it stands then looking to get himself into the top 10. Then there's only 10 competitive times set on the board just at the moment, but let's see what he can do then in the Williams car, then heading through the first of the Ravazzas then into the second Ravazza now to finish off the first time run then for Stephen Anthony. Then what's it going to be then on the board? And it's going to be P7 with a 16.4. Very nicely done indeed. On to the fourth row of the grid then for Stephen Anthony so far then. Brilliant stuff. Roger Sky unfortunately has invalidated his time. That's going to be costly indeed. He's got plenty of time to go back round again, but unfortunately has he got the fuel to go again is the other question then. Heading down the hill then we've got Smithy Almighty. Then there's a bit of traffic ahead of us as we go through then into the second chicane. That traffic needs to get himself out of the way, and my goodness me, that is distracting if not the least. Then it wasn't Mushroom, it was Mr. Elite I think there. Heading through Toes, and now goes Smithy then, but hopefully he didn't get unsighted by that all of that weaving going on then in the in the foreground as he goes through his flying lap. We'll come back to him as well then. Umabro then is harvesting energy. He's coming back to the pit. Same for Stephen Anthony as well. Then Chlorine Pilot is heading into Aqua Minerale then in his Red Bull. Then let's see what it's going to be from Chlorine Pilot. Then of course his second ALR appearance as well then. So he did debut, I believe it was in was it in Bahrain or Saudi Arabia then? I can't remember now, it's too far ago, too long ago I should say then, but he is looking good indeed then. Can he improve further then on a 16.2? Yellow flags out there I think for Mercedes, just slowing down on their in lap then as we go through then into the first Ravazza then for Chlorine Pilot. Then let's see what it's going to be then on the timing sheets then for this Red Bull as we come up to the line. There's a Ferrari just getting himself back into the pit lane as here comes Chlorine Pilot. Then it's going to be P4 with a 15.6, so he finds 0.6 of a second. Then he puts himself onto the second row of the grid and looking pretty good indeed out there as well. Fantastic. Umapro then is coming through sector 2. Unfortunately, once again, he's invalidated his time. Then Vintage up into P12. Then can he improve on that then as we head through Aqua Minerale for the Haas driver? Then his teammate Stead is 0.3 of a second, or just 2.5 or so ahead of him as it stands. And currently in P11, then there's a few drivers in yet to set a time on the board. Then a few drivers have invalidated their first outings here in this qualifying session as well. Mushroom has said, sandwich. So, yes, I think he likes being in that sandwich. Oh, no, it's Styles in the sandwich. It was Vintage just had a bit of a problem then going through the first Ravazza, has gone wide. He's kept it valid, though. Goddard has retired in the pit lane, so he's not going to be able to set a time in qualifying, unfortunately, then for the Mercedes driver, who'll be at the back of the field then at the start of the Grand Prix. Vintage back in the pit lane. Mr. Elite is back out on track as well then, as you go through then into Aqua Minerale for the Alpine machine. Looking to improve on a 41.8, then I think he can do that, as he's already gained 7.5 seconds then in the second sector, and looking to find more time then in the final sector as well. Then Real Ashton's done a 35.6. Again, I'm not sure that's a competitive time then from Real Ashton. We've seen him do a lot better in qualifying than that then, but I think he may be just getting a sighter in then for his next attack then of the track as well. Then into the second Ravazza for Mr. Elite. Then what's it going to be for the Alpine machine then up to the line? It's going to get close indeed. Then it's going to be a 16.7, then P11 for the time being then for Mr. Elite. Then good stuff indeed. And hello Housey then, sorry, Hauser, I'm just going to call you Housey. So got himself up into P10. I've missed that completely, but very sorry about that. As we head into the Tamburello chicane, and I think is he on a lap? Maybe not, but he is coming back to the pit lane either way then. And P10 for the time being then on his debut then. Good stuff indeed. Stead as well then, looking to improve on a 17.4 then, currently P13. Then it's not a bad outing so far then for the debutants then in ALR as well here. Winnie back out on track then for another out lap then. Smithy back in the pit, same for Mushroom then, stuck in the pit lane as well then for those two. We've got some more times tumbling in. Rosa Sky's done 22.9 and unfortunately that is not where we expect Rosa Sky to be. I think he's going again then in the kick sour, so that's it's not a competitive time just yet then from Rosa Sky. As we go in towards sector 1 then, he is 3 and is 3.7 seconds up on his previous time, so I'm pretty sure that's not too shabby then from Rosa Sky heading into sector 2. We'll stay on board then with the championship contender then, of course. Championship leader then for the first few rounds has had not had the luck, I should say, goodness me, heading into Aqua Minerale and invalidating then through there, and that has been costly indeed as well then for Rosa Sky. Unfortunately then for the kick Sauber driver then, he is not having a good time up there in the early stages of qualifying here then. Let's see what Stead can do then up to the line in the Haas then. Can he improve on a 17.4? He can improve to a 16.8 then and puts himself P12. Very good stuff indeed. Marvsky then P9 for the time being, looking to finish off another lap then. Here he comes and up to the line. It's going to be P7 for Marvsky, a 16.1 in the Mercedes then, almost half a second improvement then on his previous time. That's not too shabby indeed. So I've got Sand, Sand seems to, oh dear, Sand's gone off the circuit there. He's got himself back on nicely enough, but he has finished the time then 15.6 then for San, puts himself into P6 then onto the third row of the grid then as it stands. Here comes Dynamo Dan then looking to improve on P4 with a 15.5 currently then round the second Ravazza then, keeping it within track limits, but he's back in the pit lane and he has given me the what's that? I don't want to say that, it's a bit rude. When something down below goes blue, but there we go. Right then, Real Ashton then is looking to start off another lap. Then Winnie is on a flying lap, then heading into Aqua Minerale. That's my Italian accent, if you hadn't guessed it, but it's probably not very good. So anybody who has any ounce of Italian inside of them, just feel free to let me know how bad that was. But there we go then, through the Tamburello chicane then. Here comes Winnie then looking to set his first time on the board. And we've had, as Sean has already alluded to last season as well then, we've had races where Winnie then has had the luck then, or had the speed, and of what we've been told is that it's whether his significant other then lets him practice or not then. So if he's got good speed here tonight then, we'll see, as it's P7 then with a 15.9. That's pretty good speed indeed, so hopefully he has had some practice. But we don't know. Usually when Winnie is doing well, then he's had some practice then under his belt then to get himself underway. Both Aston Martins are underway, and here comes Reflection then down the hill then towards the first of the Ravazzas, looking to improve on a 15.3. Can he improve on a 15.3 is the question. Then can he rival his teammate for pole position here into the second Ravazza? We go then up to the line is the next burst then as we go through for Reflection. This could be his last lap in qualifying then. What's it going to be? It's going to be P1 with a 15.0 then from Reflection. Fantastic stuff indeed then, and that is looking pretty solid then as well then for Aston Martin. Then Rocket Lee might have something to say about that as well then as we go through into the first and second Ravazza then for this second Aston Martin on track as well then. Rocket Lee looking to take back that pole position. Can he? Yes he can then with a 14.7. My goodness me. Brilliant pace indeed then from Rocket Lee and from Reflection as well, to be fair. Both of them then cementing that front row as it stands then. Hungry Styles heading through Aqua Minerale is looking to improve on that as well, then potentially still rival the two Aston Martins then in this next phase of qualifying. Stead is done and dusted in the pit lane. He's out of qualifying here then through the Tamburello chicane. There's somebody who just scampered over the top of that. Then I think that was his teammate Jake the Slayer there. So I'm not quite sure there's what's going on then down at the Racing Bull garage, but they've had some sort of orders there as well. 1.5 minutes left of qualifying then. Here comes Styles then around that final corner then. Let's see what it's going to be then from Hungry Styles. It's pit lane for Hungry Styles, so unfortunately he has decided to abandon the lap, and I think that's qualifying done then for Hungry Styles as well. Then Stephen Anthony up into P6 with a 15.6 as well, then looking good indeed then for Stephen Anthony out there as well. Then both the Ferraris, what's going on here for both of the Ferraris? My goodness me, they're very close on the track, and they're close in the positions as well. Yeah, P8 for the Winnie. Oh dear, he's decided to drive off the circuit there. P8 for Winnie then, and Smithy then P9 with a 16.0. Then very close indeed between the two of them then. Marvsky then is back out on a track as well, then looking to get another lap in as well then. Hello Housey, or Housey I should say, goodness me, I keep calling him Hello Housey, but he's called Housey. And we go through then into Tozer then for the second time, then the final time I think then, but Housey then I think has finished the lap actually because he is low on battery then and fuel. But he's P11 for the time being as well. Then Umabro looking to improve, then he's going down into the first Ravazza. What's it going to be then from Umabro? That's very close to track limits then for the kick salver, but he's kept it within those lines then, up to the line then for Umabro, sorry. What's it going to be then for the kick salver? Then it's of 18.5. He's going again, I think that is Umabro then. So hopefully he's got enough fuel and ERS on board. Then Marsky also starting lap very close indeed then to the kick salver as well there. Might benefit him then, might not benefit him at the same time then. Rocket Lee's retired in the pit lane, but he is currently pole position as the timing sheets have been locked in then, apart from those who are still on the flying lap, that is. But everybody else is done and dusted in qualifying. Then Smith is back in the pit lane as well here. Well, yeah, so Marsky is right on the back of Umabro then heading into Sector 2 here, and it's going to be very close indeed then. Hopefully they don't have any argy-bargy moments, but we'll find out then as we go through here. This is where it's going to hurt Marsky then, because that dirty air coming off that kick salver is not going to be very friendly indeed then, heading up through Aqua Minerale as well here into Sector 3 momentarily. Then where are the rest of the drivers then? Chlorine Pilot looking to improve then. He's improved to P4 with a 15.4 as well. Then Dynamo Dan might have something to say about that as well here. Where is Marsky? And we've got Marsky then and Umabro. Then these two again just nose to tail almost in qualifying, which isn't encouraged to be fair, but there we are. Into the second Ravazza we go then, and Umabro then is going to lead away over the line. Then what's it going to be then from the kick salver driver first? It's going to be didn't improve on his time, then same for Marsky as well then, goodness me. So they both stay status quo. Then we've got Dynamo Dan jumping back ahead then of Chlorine Pilot into P4, then onto the second row of the grid. Then once again then Winnie just getting himself back in the pit lane, and I think that is qualifying done and dusted. So there we are then. Pole position then is Rocket Lee then for the Aston Martin outfit then, and a front row lockout again then for Aston Martin here in Emilia. Then Reflection P2 with a brilliant qualifying indeed. Then Hungry Star was back up there as well then, so for the championship with the Dynamo Dan. We'll run through the full classification in just a jiffy there, but there it is then for qualifying done and dusted here in the Imola Grand Prix, or Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, and we will run through that classification in just a jiffy. There we are then. Front row lockout, like I said, then for Aston Martin. The Hungry Stars then bouncing back with P3 then here so far in qualifying. Then Dynamo Dan, championship leader in P4. Then Chlorine Pilot then on his second appearance in P5. Stephen Anthony P6 then for the Williams team. Then San in P7, same as his driver's championship position as well. Then Winnie in P8 then with Smithy, his teammate, right behind in P9. Marsky then in P10. Then Mr. Elite P11. Hello Housey then in P12. Umabro P13. Stead in P14. Jake the Slayer P15. Vintage P16. Real Ashton in P17. Rosa Sky, unfortunately, down in P18 then, and Mushroom and Goddard's didn't get a time on the board, I should say. Goodness me. Wow. There we go then. We'll be back in just a jiffy for some some racing action. Goodness me, but it's going to be starting off with a bit of rain then, so soak that in then as we get ourselves ready then to start off the Grand Prix. Then we are back then for some more action, and we're ready to get racing here. Formation lap is underway then. Intermediate tyres then for all 20 drivers then to start off this Grand Prix. Then we're expecting it, or from what we've been told in the comment section anyway, we've been expecting it to potentially dry out then during the race. So it could be a mix of strategies then throughout this Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see then what the situation is going to be then with the weather then throughout the race as well. Then 32 laps then to unfold here then in front of our very eyes then for bronze season 10 round 6 there. Rosa said that I literally don't know what's going on then. I think he's had a difficult qualifying then, and not sure what's happening then to the car performance. Then maybe the Kicksauber then is becoming more of a realistic performance Kicksauber, which we of course will see tomorrow night then in the 100% league. Then we're going to be in Bahrain, so hopefully no rain there as well then, but we'll find out. So good luck then to all drivers then participating, including myself, because I will definitely need it. But there we are then, enough of that. Into the bronze action we go then. So intermediates then for all drivers, and this is going to be a very difficult start then on these wet conditions, and a track that's not favourable then in the dry conditions as well then will potentially bring up a few errors, a few mistakes, and so making sure you keep that car on the grey stuff then, not the green stuff, is going to be very important indeed then. Potentially a one-stop strategy then between the intermediates then as well then, potentially a two-stop as well. Then we'll have to wait and see then how it's going to unfold then, depending on the tyre wear as well then, and depending on the weather as well, because we might not see another stop for intermediate compound tyres. We might see everyone switching to the dry compound tyres then in a few laps time or so. We'll have to find out, but at the moment the rain's still falling here then in Imola, so it's not going to be a quick one, I don't think, in terms of it drying out then for the first few laps or so then. Good stuff. Right, we don't have to run through all the tyres, which is very quick indeed, so I've run out of stuff to say on the formation lap already then, as we get ourselves parked up then to start off the Grand Prix then in just a jiffy. But once all the drivers are lined up on the grid then, we can get those 5 lights on and get underway. And a few drivers then having a bit of an issue parking in their box then as it stands then, but there we are. So the last drivers then heading through the final Ravazza and getting themselves lined up on the grid as well here then. Hello Housley then has unfortunately disqualified himself then in the pit box, that is, but hopefully not so much in the race. Then we'll wait and see. But there we are then, all parked up then, ready to get going then here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. A much better camera angle from this one then as we go. We get ourselves ready to start racing hopefully, and yes we do. No we don't. Where are we? It's lights out and away we go then for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. A good start then from both the Aston Martins. A bit tentative then for the rest of the field. There's a McLaren on the grass there in the background as we go through then into the first chicane. Then who's going to take the lead? Then both Aston Martins holding station. Then off the circuit goes Rocket Lee, and that's dangerous stuff indeed. And Rocket Lee's lost the lead to his teammate, and Styles has gone through as well. Then Dynamo Dan looking to sneak through then into the second chicane. They're side by side as we go through here then, and Dynamo Dan backs out then. I think that was probably very wise indeed then, as we go through then once again then a better exit for Dynamo Dan then into Toes. He's got the outside then as we go through then. Rocket Lee slams the door shut then, and Stephen Anthony then looking to sneak past his teammate and Rocket Lee into P3 position then as we head up the hill into sector 2, and Stephen Anthony's got himself up into P4 then. He's passed his teammate then, but he hasn't passed Rocket Lee for the time being, then heading through in towards Aqua Minerale as well. Now this is where it's going to get dangerous stuff indeed on these slippery conditions then, but everyone's got themselves through unscathed I think for the time being. Chlorine Pilot unfortunately dropping down instead, dropped down 6 places then on the start as well then, unfortunately for Stead on his debut. Hopefully he can get that back then. He's still within the train as Dynamo Dan's lost out to Winnie as well then. Winnie's on a charge here, ending up into the Tamburillo chicane. He's got himself up into P5 then, 3 places gained for Winnie, and he is flying. Roger's guy's got himself up 4 places as well, then he is on the charge. Marsky then unfortunately then dropping down 3 places, and is being passed then by Jake the Slayer and Mabro as well then. Hello Housley then has dropped down to P16, then Goddard has got himself through up to P15 from the last position on the grid then, and looking pretty quick indeed in this first lap as well then for the Mercedes driver. Then good stuff indeed. Reflection sets us underway then. Siles is 1 second back already then on the first lap as we go through then into lap 2 then of this very rainy circuit then in Imola as well then. Goodness me, then is it going to dry up then in the rest of the session, or are we going to have intermediates for the whole race? We'll find out soon. Rosa Sky and Marsky are having a bit of a shuffle then as well. Then Rosa Sky round the outside into the first turn, has got the move done I think just about, and up into P13. Good stuff indeed. Next target then is Jake the Slayer then, and his teammate then of course is Umabra then in P11. Then Chlorine Pilot then has had a very difficult start then, struggling in the wet conditions potentially then, but hopefully he's got himself back underway. Looks like he's got himself back underway, and now chasing down Smithy Almighty, who's the only driver, or there's only two drivers that have held position then, or not moved position I should say then, off the start then, and that is Sam then in P7 and Smithy as well in the Ferrari P9. My goodness me, what a start then Happy International Tiger Day then, says Ginger Asian. My goodness me, I learn something new every day. As Rocket Lee has got himself back past Stars, but Rocket Lee's had an issue then on the exit of Aqua Minerale. They're swarming him then through in towards the Tamburello chicane. It's close indeed then. Dynamo Dan's gone through. Rocket Lee then is under pressure from Winnie as well then as we go through into that chicane as well then, and I think he's just about stayed ahead then of the Ferrari for the time being as well then, but Stephen Anthony has snuck through. It was Stephen Anthony, sorry, not Dynamo Dan, then sneaking through then for P3 then, and he's now got himself a style to try and contend with as well then. 2 seconds away is Reflection. He is storming off into the distance at this point in the race, but will the conditions then start to fight him back then? We'll find out then as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix then. For now, on to lap 3 we go then. Styles then is 2 seconds away then. Stephen Anthony then in P3 then. Rocket Lee is under pressure from Winnie then as we go through towards turn 1 then. Is there going to be a move then from Winnie? He's a bit too far back, I think, to try and dive it down the inside there, as it's very dangerous stuff indeed. As off the circuit goes Sand then. Sand's had an issue then trying to get himself back on then. There's an Alpine right in front of him then. Goodness me. And Sand's all over the place here as well then. Goodness me, just make sure you rejoin safely, or slee join rafely, or whatever it is. I don't know what Jimmy Broadbent would say, but there we go then. Sand then unfortunately dropping down to P11 then, and back in the pack now as well then, between the two kick salvers here then after that escapade then at turn 1. A bit too late on the brakes then for Sand then, unfortunately has cost him dearly as we head up towards sector 2 now as well then, and that is released the rest of the field then, released Mr. Elite then of course, and he was right behind the McLaren and got stuck behind the McLaren almost there on the exit of the first chicane, didn't he there? But thankfully no damage done then for Mr. Elite. Then he can soldier on then and chase down Dynamo Dan. Then he seems to be struggling. The championship leader then not having a good time up there in these wet conditions here. Wow. There we are then, heading through the Tamburello chicane. Not an easy place to go side by side, and thankfully all drivers have just slotted into the train going through there. Out in front then, 2 seconds the gap then still then, so it's not holding holding quite steadily then for Reflection and Hungry Stars then as we head on to lap 4 now. Reflection once again with the fastest lap of the race, but of course in these intermediate conditions, if it starts to dry out then we might see a few changes there as well then. Stephen Anthony then is dropped off the back then of Hungry Stars and now under pressure from Rocket Lee then, heading in towards turn 1 then. Rocket Lee is looking for the move but not quite then, and Stephen Anthony holds on to P3 then. Rocket Lee now under pressure from Winnie as we go through the second chicane then. Winnie's almost pushing him through that corner and there's almost contact, and they're going to go 3 wide through here then. This is going to be dangerous stuff indeed. Stephen Anthony's been nerfed off the circuit there, and wow, that's not racing indeed then. Rocket Lee then, as where is Stephen Anthony gone? What's happened to Stephen Anthony then? He just needed to stay on the circuit there. Unfortunately, he's dropped down to P13 here, and that's not good news indeed then for Stephen Anthony. Then that's put him down the back of the field as well then, and he's going to have dirt on his tyres as well after that escapade there as well then. Goodness me, Rocket Lee then is not going to be in his Christmas card list or anything after that one. And as we go through then into Aqua Minerale on lap 4 I should say then. My goodness me, is it starting to dry out there? Potentially, we'll have to wait and see then. But that's been the escapade so far. Then we had Sand go off the circuit as well. Then earlier on in this race, he's now trying to get himself back past Umabra then, but can't quite then into sector 3. Umabra almost sliding the car through that corner then, but has kept it under control just about there, which is good stuff indeed. Then Stephen Anthony now down to P12. He's got Marsky and Rosa Sky to try and contend with. Rosa Sky is looking to try and make a move then on Sand, but not quite then into the first Ravazza. And oh dear, is he going to go for it in the second Ravazza? Not quite as well then, so that's close indeed. Right then, here comes Reflection then. Reflection's on the charge and he's got the fastest lap, but Styles is closing back in then, and Styles then is 1.8 seconds away now, so he's not too far back. He's actually brought the gap down then in a few tenths of a second on the previous lap then. I think the rain's starting to stop, or has it stopped even? So potentially we might see some pit stops in the next few laps or so then. Rosa Sky then still all over the back of Sand as we go through the second chicane then, and first chicane, sorry, I should say then, as we go through then into lap 5, and it's definitely stopped raining, hasn't it? So I think we've already started to see a dry line forming as well, to be fair. So potentially we might see, as Winnie's got himself past Rocket Lee, has he not, on the exit of Tozer then. Rocket Lee holds it back, or stays in P3 as we go into sector 2. But yes, my goodness me, there's all action here then in the open stages, and the rain I think has stopped then, so potentially we might see some onto the dry compound tyres in a few moments time or so, you'd expect. because it doesn't look like those intermediate compound tyres are going to hold on much longer in this race, especially if the track starts drying out quickly as well. Then heading through into sector 3 we go, then Dynamo Dan then all over the back then of Winnie. Then Winnie couldn't get himself past Rocket Lee, who's now trying to storm off into the distance here. I think with the track drying out, then the pace is going to start getting a bit elevated as well. Then we'd expect so, but yeah, there we go. Not in my case, but there we are. Then Styles then has lost a few seconds. Then he's into the pit lane. Is Styles then? Styles very early into the box then, and calling it a day. Rocket Lee also in as well. Then he's smashed through the pit board. Winnie is also in the pit lane as well. Then so we've got a few stoppers already here in this stage of the race. Then Stephen Anthony has carried on. Then we've got a few other drivers. Bottas has carried on as well. Then on the intermediate compound tyres. Then this is going to get dangerous stuff indeed. Then especially if they have to double stack behind their teammates as well. Then Styles then has pitted onto. We haven't got the tyres situation going on. Of course, everyone started on the intermediate compound tyres. 3 seconds for Jake Slayer, the first penalty of the evening, but I think we might see a few more of those. Styles then into the pits then for the hard compound tyre. And away he goes, and let's see what it's going to be then. Winnie also on the hards as well. Then Rocket Lee's had an issue out of the pit lane then, and that has cost him a place then to Winnie as well. Then yellow flags fluttering. I think that's for Rocket Lee's issue then on the exit, trying to get the power down a bit too quickly as well. Then Marvsky then in the on the medium compound tyres now for the Mercedes driver, and back underway then. Hello Housley as well then onto the mediums, as is Vintage, and Stead has also pit for the hard compound tyres behind his teammate as well. Then as we come out of the pit lane, it's going to be a bit slippery then on the exit then, but it looks like it's already a dry line forming then around the circuit. Then it's already pretty dry on the whole circuit as well as we head down the hill then at the end of lap 6 then. Who is going to be next to pit then? I would imagine Reflection will be thinking about a pit stop then just at this moment then, because he's got quite a gap then to Dynamo Dan, who's 7 seconds behind. But yes, we'll have to wait and see then as we go into the pits then for the race leader. Then Reflection is calling it a day then on the intermediate compound tyres. DRS has been enabled, so it is the right time to call it a day then, as Dynamo Dan then cutting the grass on the way into pit lane as well. Then he is just about slowed it down in time. Same for Smithy and Mr. Elite and Chlorine Pilot. Everyone piling into the pits then, as Rocket Lee's got a 3-second penalty then going through in sector 2. Then let's see who's going to be next across the line then in terms of Styles. Then Styles or Real Ashton set the fastest lap of the race. He's carried on then, that's why, because he's up into P1 then, is Real Ashton. I think it's his first time leading a race then here in bronze then, but well done indeed then. He was hoping for a red flag, I think, at this point, but thankfully we don't have those. Where is Styles going to be then in respect to his rivals as well? Then there's all sorts of action on the exit of the pit lane there. There's Mr. Elite then having a collision then with Dynamo Dan, I think that was. Rocket Lee then is in P7. Then what's happened to Mr. Elite and Dynamo Dan? They all had a bit of an argy-bargy there coming out of the pit lane. I think there was a bit of a traction difficulty then for some, similar to what we saw earlier on in the stint as well then, for those switching on to the dry tyres earlier on as well then. So Real Ashton leads the Grand Prix then. Fantastic stuff indeed. Unfortunately, he's on the wrong tyres, I think, at this point of the race. As Reflection then has switched to the hard compound tyres. He's 6 seconds behind. Then Hungry Styles 2.4 seconds behind, has switched to the hards a lap earlier then, but unfortunately the undercut just didn't work then on the outlap there as well. Then Winnie then up into P4. Then Dynamo Dan medium compound tyres in P5. Then Mr. Elite then P6. Rocket Lee in P7. Then Smithy Almighty P8. Then Chlorine Pilot P10, P9 I should say. Umapro P10. San in P11. Then Marvsky in P12. Then Stephen Anthony P13. Oh dear, he's had a problem then going off the circuit. Then Aqua Millerale, goodness me. Goddard's then in P14. Chlorine Pilots picked up a penalty as well then, as Rosa Sky has passed Jake the Slayer for P15 here then into the Tamburello chicane. And there we go then up into P15 for the championship contender as well then. Everybody now, apart from Real Ashton, who has now called it a day on the intermediate compound tyres, well, everyone's now switching on to the dry compound here as we go through then into lap 8 then of 32, then quarter way through then of the Grand Prix. Then if my maths is correct, then Real Ashton unfortunately is going to drop down like a stone then with those extra laps on the intermediate compound tyre, but of course he will have the freshest tyres of the field as well, so that's not too gloomy indeed as we go through then into lap 8 then. Reflection leads away 2 seconds, then the gap then to Hungry Styles. Of course Styles has got his tyres warmed up then nicely I should say then, with the extra lap then compared to Reflection, but Reflection Styles will soon be up to speed as we head through into sector 2 now as well. Then Winnie then chasing down Styles. Then Winnie is looking on top form tonight then for Ferrari. So far so good then for the Ferrari driver then. It's looking very good indeed as well. Then Smithy Almighty not doing too bad a job as well then in P7, has gained 2 places from the starting position, but we'll have to wait and see then how it's going to unfold here as well then as we go through then into sector 2. Then Michael Speed, I thought that was a bit of lag, but hopefully it's just on my end as we head through then into Tamburello now. Sector 3 then underway then. 5 seconds faster than is Mr. Elite then compared to his previous intermediate compound tyre time, so that is looking pretty quick indeed then as we go through then into the first Bravazza then. out in front then, 2 seconds the gap. Then Jake the Slayer's got a penalty then as well. I think there's penalties racking up then for the drivers out there as well. The warnings racking up, I should say. Reflection sets the fastest out of the race then, but Hungry Styles and Winnie have now eclipsed that as well. Then here comes Winnie on the charge with some DRS. Then Dynamo Dan speeds through and takes that fastest lap. And then we're all tumbling in now as the fastest laps come in then, as the dry compound tyres are working to their effect as well then. Good stuff indeed. And Mr. Elite and Rocket League, goodness me, that was close indeed. Then heading through there, and Smithy Almighty almost pushing the Aston Martin through the chicane. Then now Chlorine Pilot's going to get his nose in there as well. Then into the second chicane. Then there's contact between the Ferrari and the Red Bull, and they're off the circuit as well. Then, well, one of them's off the circuit, and Chlorine Pilot has relinquished the place then to Smithy Almighty. Then heading through the Tozer curve then, and Umabra then is waiting in close proximity on the medium compound tyres as well here. Winnie's picked up a penalty then, the fourth row with a penalty out there as well so far tonight. Then only a quarter of the way through the Grand Prix. Then you need to keep it clean. Oh dear, Sand. Then Sands, where's he gone? Where's he gone? Oh, he kept it in control just about there. I thought he had lost the car there, but good car control indeed then from Sand then on these medium compound tyres then to keep him within contention as well then of the top 10 positions, or in the top 10 positions I should say. Now on to lap 10 momentarily then, as the leaders go through into the first and second. Ravazza then Reflection then leading the way, then looking very comfortable out there, I should say. Potentially, but I wouldn't know, because I wouldn't know what leading the race is like these days. It's been a long time since I last did a race, but there we go then, heading through then into lap 10, and Winnie is closing in. Winnie is closing in, and here he comes in. Is he going to dive? Oh, what the what the hell's happened there? And they're inside of each other, so that's an interesting way. I've never seen an overtake just like that then, but has Styles left the session? He's still racing at pace though, so I'm not sure. But Winnie has gone through. This time it's done, I think. But well, there you go. There's another way of overtaking. Yeah, well, there we are. So P2 for Winnie now, I believe. And Styles then P3. Then I think that might have just been a lag spike, because it doesn't look like Styles has left the session. His pace is still there. So hopefully he can just keep his head and keep him calm and get himself back past Winnie as well. Then later on, then yellow flags out there for somebody. It's is it Mercedes? Is Goddard? No, Goddard's is still going all right. I'm not sure. They seem to have got themselves sorted pretty quickly indeed then. Hello Housie then I think is putting the pressure on Real Ashton. Then Real Ashton over to P17 then of course has been on a point scoring form then has Real Ashton, which has been brilliant to see then after a very difficult season last season. Has turned that around then already from round 1 in this season as well then, so looking good indeed then for Real Ashton. Heading into the second Ravazza, we go then on to lap 11. Yes, it is. Lap 11 then. Here comes Styles then on the attack then, looking to try and get that place back then from Winnie as we go through then into the first chicane. Then Styles back up into P2 and takes the place then away from the Ferrari driver. Then Smith, well, it's not Smith. Smith has passed Mr. Elite then into, oh my God, they're into the first chicane then. So we had Stephen Anthony set the fast lap of race. Goodness me, I'm all over the place at the moment then, but it's been action-packed to say the least then, as we go through then into lap 11. Then Stephen Anthony back up into P11 as well then, chasing down Umabro as his next target. Then Rosa Sky then is coming through as well. Then Chlorine Pilot has passed Mr. Elite, has he, around the outside. Then there's close contact indeed potentially between Rocket Lee and Smithy Almighty. Then Rocket Lee has stayed ahead then in P5 for now, but Smithy Almighty might be thinking about taking that place back. Then of course he's on medium compound tyres then is Smithy Almighty, as Stead picks up a penalty as well. Then goodness me, then like I said, penalties rolling in here, and I think we said we saw from Mushroom then on Sunday night that we said it was going to be a penalty inducing track then, as San has passed Mr. Elite then for P8 and up into the higher echelons then of the points paying positions there. Winnie then looking to fight back then, with these two having a bit of a ding-dong battle between themselves. Then they've now got almost 4 seconds then to the race leader of Reflection, as we go on to lap 12 then of 32. But it's staying status quo between those two, just switching places every other lap then, it looks like, as we go through then on to lap 12 now. Here comes Smithy Almighty looking to try and get himself into P5 then on the circuit. Not quite, no, I don't think. Or is he going to go for it anyway then, as we go down the inside into turn 1? He's got the move done then up into P5, and he has got himself ahead of Rocket League for the time being. But we do expect that might change as well, especially on medium compound tyres. Then they will drop off quicker than those on the hard compound tyres, is the prediction. But goodness me, I would have no idea what these drivers are doing at this point of the race. Then are they going to try and eke these tyres out to the end of the Grand Prix like we saw in Belgium, or are they going to try and do a two-stop or something else even more then as Hello Housey and no, it's Vintage off the circuit then, unfortunately at the first chicane then, goodness me, he's had a bit of an escapade over the grass, then over the curbs as well, then goodness me, Vintage is back underway, but hopefully his car is a-okay. It looks like the car is a-okay, but hopefully he can get himself back underway and get himself into the pit lane. If there's any tyre issues then Goddard's picked up the penalty as well, then like I said, it's not just Goddard, it's everybody it seems out there as we go through then to the Tamburello chicane then. Stephen Anthony now catching up and all over the back then of Umabro then into lap 13 we go, as down the hill then into the first of the two revats as we go for Stephen Anthony then all over the back then of Umabro then heading into the main straight then. This is where the DRS is going to be the effective usage then on that rear wing then, getting that rear wing open and flying along then. Smithy Almighty has been repassed by Rocket Lee with the same DRS, and here comes Stephen Anthony then passing Umabro then with that same DRS as well then into the first corner. Very good stuff indeed. Mr. Reed picks up a penalty as well then. Penalties are rolling in around here then. It's all over the place then for the penalty situation then. Keeping it clean then will be a big reward then, as Stephen Anthony then struggling through the second chicane then is lost out I should say, goodness me, to Umabro then, who's back up into P10 then. Stephen Anthony then is under pressure then, putting the pressure on I should say, but he's also going to be under pressure then from Rosa Sky then in the next few corners if he doesn't keep up the speed I should say, but of course what do I know about speed? Nothing really. So there we go as we go through then into Tamburello. Mr. Elite has passed Sand, then Sand's had an issue, then Sand's pointing the wrong way then going up the hill, and whether there was a tap then or whether that was just a loss of car control then over those curbs as well as we go up the hill. Rosa Sky's got a 3-second penalty as well then, goodness me, then Sand trying to get the power down is a bit too eager I think there as well, then spinning up the tyres as we go into the Tamburello section as well then. My goodness me, then that has been a very, very difficult part of the race then for Sam. Then hopefully he can get himself back underway then in this race. And he's still in the points paying positions, of course. Here comes Stephen Anthony then. Winnie's got a 3-second time penalty. Then Rocket Lee has rocketed past Dynamo Dan. Then Rocket Lee now on a charge after passing the Ferrari of Smithy. Then he's now passed Dynamo Dan, and Smithy has been passed by Chlorine Pilot as well. Then Stephen Anthony's picking up a penalty. Then but he's got himself up into P9, passing Umabro as well on the main straight. And yellow flags. It's Umabro's had an issue then at that same first chicane, then just got himself out of the way then and back underway and into P13. But I think the medium compound tyres are starting to struggle then for a few drivers out there as well, it seems, as we go through then into the heart of the stint as well here. 8 laps then on the medium compound tyres as Rocket Lee's off the circuit, then trying to get himself back on then down towards Aqua Minerale. Then the car's got off. Oh my god then. And that was Mr. Elite again then, another driver then for Mr. Elite to try and negotiate, then coming back on the circuit. But Mr. Elite has almost gone into the back, I think it was San then earlier on in the race, wasn't it? That he almost went to the back of as well then. And Rocket Lee then is trying to get himself back underway. Then yellow flags up there for a Haas as well. Then Vintage has had an issue at the second chicane as well here. Again, got himself back underway with no wing damage, thankfully. Then San has been passed by Mushroom. Then Mushroom over to P14. It's I can't keep my eye on everything around here, guys. Just slow it down, would you please? As Rocket Lee then is staying out then. Oh dear, that was close indeed. Stephen Anthony almost in the back of the Aston Martin there, heading down the main straight. Then Rocket Lee then has been passed by Rosa Sky as well then as we go through then into lap 15. Oh my god, then that's close between Smithy Almighty and Chlorine Pilot, and the Rebels got around there as they all filter through behind him. Chlorine Pilot's got himself back underway. There's a bit of a gap then between himself and Marsky then, as both the Mercedes are switching places as well. Then into the first chicane, then into the pits comes Mushroom and San. So Mushroom then is pulling it there on the medium compound tyres, going for the hard compound tyres. Same for San as well then, and they're very close in proximity as well. Then Evening Alex as well then from Kamara Racing. Then hello all racers then from Kamara. Then thank you very much for the donation as well. Very much appreciated then, Kamara Racer then, and like I said, it all goes back into the league then for helping us grow then, and of course getting everybody a slice of the trophies then as well. Then oh dear, as Houses had an issue then, he's just got himself back on. I didn't see anything there. I completely missed it. I don't worry about me. I'm not observing anything like that. It's all good. I didn't see a thing. Rocket League picked up a penalty then as we go through then into lap 16. Now halfway point of the Grand Prix then is underway then as we head through then with Winnie, who's in the DRS range still just about then, but I don't think he's going to have the speed then even with the DRS to get himself past Styles then, who's holding on to that P2 then. Out of the pits comes Vintage then, he's in P20 then. Unfortunately he's been lapped then, but of course if there's a safety car he just needs to stay out then and get himself back on the lead lap as well then. Rocket League into the pits as well then, goodness me, not having a race that he wants to remember. Unfortunately, Rocket League out of the Grand Prix in the pit lane. That is a pit and quit then from Rocket League, I'm afraid. Chlorine Pilot has also retired. Is he in the pits? He's also pit and quit as well then. So there we go. Then 2 on the same lap then, thank goodness me. But there we are then, out of the race then for 2 drivers then on the same lap here, and that's unfortunate stuff indeed. Stead then up into P13, then Umabra then is called coming out of the pits onto fresh medium compound tyres then. I'm not sure they'll be able to get to the end of the Grand Prix from here. We'll have to find out then as we go through. But out of the pit lane now comes the Kick Sauber then in P15. So there we are. Right then, Vintage will get himself up into P18 in a minute, but there we go. Then lap 16 then is underway. That was just about to be finished, actually, to be fair. Winnie's dropped out the DRS range then of Styles, and that could be problematic indeed for the Ferrari driver. Then he wants to get himself back in that range as quickly as possible. Then Stephen Anthony then is caught up to Rosa Sky. Then Stephen Anthony back up into P8 now. Of course, penalties are rolling in, but there's penalties all over the field as Marvsky then just picks up another one. So, like I said, it's a penalty-friendly track, isn't it? As we go through then into the second Ravazza, then Stephen Anthony, is he close enough to get moved then on Rosa Sky then into the first turn? Then he's going to have some DRS to try and help him, but he's a bit too far back, I would imagine. We'll see what the closing speed is like then as we go through then 7/10 of a second then before the DRS opens then. And is he going for it then? He's not going for it then, I think. So he stays behind, but he has closed the gap then by a few tenths of a second. Then Marvsky and Goddard's then switching places as the Mercedes pair then keep on their fight as well then. And there we are then. It's all quieting down a bit now, thankfully. But there we are. And Rocket League has said some lovely words about Imola. To be fair, I don't know. Do I feel the same sentiment? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, to be fair. It can be one of those circuits, can't it, I think? But it can either go your way then, or it definitely can't go your way then. And, oh dear, we've had an issue then. Goddard has had a spin then at the exit of Toes, and then getting himself back underway quickly enough. Or is he? He has got himself back underway. But unfortunately, he's lost out 2 places then to Real Ashton and Jake the Slayer then. So unfortunately for Goddard, and that spin has been costly indeed. He has got himself back underway quickly enough, though. But he's lost out those 2 places, as I said, as well there. But there we are then. So, yeah, I think, a few drivers in. I don't think anybody's favourite circuit, Imola, to be fair. It's a nice circuit. It's a nice circuit to maybe just for the nostalgia of it, potentially. But there we are then. Dynamo Dan is in the pit lane. Here's call it a day then on the medium compound tyres. Same as Smithy here as well then. So the medium compound tyres running out then for these 2. Will Marvsky follow them into the pit lane as well then? We'll find out. No, he will stay out then for the time being. But now hard compound tyres going on the Ferrari, then hard compound tyres going on Dynamo Dan's car as well then. But he's stuck in the pit lane. No, he's not. He's teleported. Never mind then. Ignore me. But hard compound tyres going on these 2 as well then out of the pit lane. Where will they be in the rest of the order? Then they might be behind that Mercedes of Goddard's as we go through. Then there is Goddard's then going up into P10. Then Dynamo Dan P11 and Smithy Almighty out in P12, and there is Stead as well. Instead on the hard compound tyres as it stands as well here. But I think there's going to be a few more stops to come then in this Grand Prix. Then of course tyre wear then is the bane of everyone's existence here, as Mr. Elite has been passed by Rosa Sky then, and these 3 then filtering through Aqua Minerale now as well. Wow. Good stuff indeed then. It's been an epic first half of the Grand Prix, to be fair then, and fantastic stuff indeed then from all the drivers then who've been putting on the charge as well then. Mr. Elite then trying to hold on then to that Rosa Sky then. Rosa Sky's found some form then, hasn't he? He's from P18 on the grid so far, up into P4 then. He is looking pretty strong then in the dry conditions as well then. Dynamo Dan then with the fresh tyres has passed Goddard's then. Goddard's then at the exit of Aqua Minerale has got himself out of the way then of the championship leader as well here, but Goddard's then doing a great job so far in this race, I would imagine. Well, I'd imagine I can see, but I'm partially blind, but never mind. There we are then, heading into the first Ravazza. Then Dynamo Dan has already caught up to Jake the Slayer here. Of course, Jake the Slayer is on much older tyres than the championship leader then, so I don't think it's going to be too much of a challenge then for Dynamo Dan to squeeze his way past then as we go on to the main straight now. And Dynamo Dan has got through with the DRS into P9. Then Real Ashton is the next target on the road. Then where is Smithy Almighty? Then he is not caught up as quickly as Dynamo Dan has done, as he's stuck behind Goddard's for the time being. And for Jake the Slayer, and as Jake the Slayer, as we got a penalty then, I think it's Goddard's then. Goddard's got the penalty, unfortunately, there. But like I said, I think we've only got a few drivers then left without penalties at the moment. As into Tozer we go. Oh my God, Dynamo Dan almost into the back of the Red Bull there. I think Real Ashton got out of the way then. going round the outside there, and Dynamo Dan sneaks up to P8, I should say. Smithy Almighty and Goddard's then switching places as well. Then Aquaman, there's a problem then for Kicks out, but then it's Umabro off the circuit at the second chicane, then over the curves, unfortunately, then it's going to be very dangerous through there then, and now into Tozer we go then, still trying to get himself back underway. Then Winnie's got a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Then Winnie then is going to be kicking himself for that one. He's got medium tyres prepared then. That's going to be a struggle to get to the end of the Grand Prix, I'd imagine, from here. We'll find out. But yeah, unfortunately, winning that 10 seconds is going to be very costly indeed, and could cost him a podium place as well then, which is going to be dangerous stuff indeed as well for Winnie then. He was looking very, very fast indeed, wasn't he? But that penalty, he'll still be fast, but unfortunately that penalty will be added onto his race time at the end of the Grand Prix, or in his next pit stop then, when he chooses to make that pit stop as well. Then Marvsky is going to be close as well then. Out of the pits we go then into turn one. Then he stays ahead of Marvsky. Of course, Marvsky's on much older tyres than at this time. Marvsky then still not pitching then. Of course, we saw Dynamo Dan and Smithy then pit for the hard compound tyres, and Marvsky stayed out then, and they've now caught up to Marvsky as well then. It's not been a full pit stop then of catch up then, but they've caught him up then as well. Then Real Ashton's in the pits as well then. Where has he gone? He's not in that pit box anymore then. He is getting himself out of the pit lane, hopefully, and back underway. But where is he then? What's going to... Can we see? There we are. He's there. There he is. He's on medium compound tyres then, and underway then for Real Ashton then on the fresh set of boots and the freshest tyres on the grid. Very good stuff indeed. Right, Dynamo Dan is now caught up to Marvsky as well. Then a bit of traffic then for the championship leader to try and contend with. Then, of course, it's not traffic then that's lapped traffic. Of course, it's just traffic that has on different strategies as well. Then Dynamo Dan then almost pushing the Mercedes down the hill as we go in towards the first and second. Oh God, there's almost contact there, and Dynamo Dan has snuck through then as well. But he's got himself ahead then of the Mercedes for the time being. That is, but I think the Mercedes might have some DRS to try and fight back with. He doesn't though, unfortunately, I don't think, but heading on to the main straight, on to lap 21 then. But Marvsky then is doing I'm not sure what Marvsky's plan is here, to be fair, but he has done a fantastic stint already then on the medium compound tyres then, and I don't know what the strategy is going to be then for Marvsky then in this final part of the race there, but we'll find out then in just a jiffy. Winnie then has got a fresh set of medium compound tyres, and he's 9 seconds behind. Of course, that 10-second penalty is hanging over him as well then in this race. We might see some more pit stops then for the race leaders as well. We'll have to wait and see then. Stephen Anthony then is all over the back then of Mr. Elite. And to be fair, Smithy has got himself past Marvsky then on the exit of Tozer. To be fair, we've got a fantastic contention then of driver of the day in this race. Reflections done a fantastic job from pole position as well then. From P2 position, I should say then, to get himself a comfortable lead. And Styles has done a fantastic job as well then, once again bouncing back then. Hopefully his tyres don't puncture at the end of this Grand Prix. Rosa Sky has done a great job as well then, getting himself from P18 on the grid so far up into P3, and potentially he's looking to get some more then. Mr. Elite as well, and a fantastic driver then for the Alpine machine. Then Stephen Anthony then with a fantastic recovery is looking to get himself into P4 position here as we go through then, and he's got himself up into P4 position then on the circuit, that is, as Winnie sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Brilliant stuff. Lap 22. 10 laps to go then at the end of this one. Then we'll have to wait and see then how those 10 laps are going to fare. Then Marvsky is in the pit lane and calling it a day then on those medium compound tyres, which I think he's going to be very happy to get rid of now. And onto a fresh set of boots then. He's going for the soft compound tyres. My goodness me. Well, that's a stretch and a half then, but fair play indeed then for putting the challenge on, as Sam has got himself past Goddard's then for P10. But Marvsky then has gone for the soft compound tyres with 10 laps to go here in Emilia. That is going to be a stretch and a half then, if he can make it, that is. But we'll have to wait and see then, as Real Ashton has got himself up into P15. Then Marvsky now out on the soft compound tyres is going to be absolutely rapid in the next couple of laps or so, in the first few laps then of the stint. But I do imagine they will start to struggle towards the end of the Grand Prix. But what do I know? Absolutely nothing. So there we are. Stephen Anthony has been repassed by Mr. Elite somewhere, because he is now behind the Alpine. Yes, there we go then. Are we going to see some more pit stops then for the top of the order then? We'll find out very shortly. Heading on to lap 23 then, so 10 laps to go then in this Grand Prix then. Neither of these two are coming into the pit lane, I should say. They're all staying out then. Here comes Stephen Anthony then on the attack then. Can he get himself back past the Alpine into turn one? He's a bit too far back to make the move then. Yellow flags for McLaren out there as well. Then goodness me, what's happened? It's Housie then who's off the circuit then at the top of the hill, and unfortunately Housie unfortunately then it's not going his way on his debut then, but fair play indeed for sticking at it then at this point of the Grand Prix as well then, as we go through. Stephen Anthony then is still in the fight then for that P4 position. They're being caught by Winnie now. Winnie of course is on the medium compound tyres, much fresher medium compound tyres. Goddard is in the pit lane for a new set of boots as well then, onto medium compounds then for the Mercedes driver then, and he is back on the way, but he will be behind his teammate and Real Ashton then for the time being, but again on the freshest tyres of the grid as it stands as well then. Marvsky has caught up Real Ashton but hasn't got DRS then into the first corner, so he can't get himself past that Red Bull just yet then as we go through then into lap 24. Is there rain? I think there's rain. I saw rain. I'm pretty sure I must be imagining things, but my goodness me, are we going to see rain in this race then? How is it then into the intermediates going on then? Is there rain? Or am I just Vintage is in the pits as well then? It's definitely raining. There's definitely rain falling here in Imola then, in the pit lane at least then. My goodness me then, Stephen Anthony is in the pits as well. And what's going to be going on then for the Williams driver then? Is it going to be dry tyres? Can they get to the end on the dry tyres then and just soldier it out then? It's going to be intermediate compound tyres going on the Williams as well then. My goodness me, there's rain at the end of this Grand Prix. It's going to be absolutely chaotic, I think, at the end of this one as well then. We started off in the intermediate conditions. We're going back to the intermediate conditions as well then. I don't know if it's raining enough then, though, for the intermediates to be a better tyre than at this stage. As we head out of the pit lane then, Stephen Anthony then drops down to P10. Of course, he's the highest runner on the intermediate compound tyres, so if it does start to rain a bit more then, he will be in prime position then to gain a few places then when it starts to get a bit struggly then for those on the dry compound tyres ahead of him. Wow. We've got, we didn't expect this, I don't think. Well, I didn't expect this. But we've got more rain falling then here in Imola. As we started off with 8 laps of rain then in this Grand Prix. We're going to end with about 8 laps of rain then in this Grand Prix as well then. So my goodness me then, those who stayed out then, of course, I think have made the benefit then as well then. I thought we had someone. No, it seems to be all right. Styles in the pit lane as well then. So Styles from P2 then is calling it a day then on the dry compound tyres, I'd imagine as well then. Rosa Sky and Winnie is staying out here, and intermediates going on for Styles as well then. There's going to be an absolute pandemonium in the pit lane if it starts pouring with rain a bit heavier as well. Then Styles coming out the pit lane now will be behind Dynamo Dan and Smithy, I think, then as well, as we go through the pit exit now as well. Then there is Smithy Almighty, there is Hungry Styles then as we come out of the pits now, and Styles is just ahead then. Is he into the first turn? Yes, he is, but is those intermediate compound tyres the better tyre already? But I don't think they are. I just don't think they are then at this point. Then Smithy then is coming back through and into the second chicane then. Can he make the move? Not quite then. So Styles then is still using the pace and still got the pace as well. Then into the pits comes Jake the Slayer then. We've got intermediates for Stephen Anthony as well. Then is he gaining time then is the question there. And I don't know if it's wet enough just yet then for the intermediate tyres then, and they'll be burning out then in these dry conditions as well. Then Jake the Slayer onto the intermediates as well. Goddard then stays out. Then he's staying on the medium compound then for the time being. Then Real Ashton as well. Then unfortunately then these drivers who've just pitted as well. Then it's going to be well, they're going to be hoping that it doesn't start raining any heavier. Reflections in the pit lane from the race lead. Intermediates going on for the race leader as well here. Then my goodness me, it's all going to be chaos then in the last few laps here, unless it doesn't rain heavy enough. Then in which case those on the dry compound tyres are going to be loving it, because they're going to be having the most pace and still, even with a bit of drizzle then around this circuit as well. This is going to be frightening stuff indeed then as we go through then into lap 26 then of 32. There we are then. Rosa Sky also in the pits for the Kick Sauber team. Dynamo Dan goes up into P4, staying out then on the hard compound tyres. Then Hungry Stars then takes back P5. Then is it wet enough on the circuit? It just doesn't look like it's wet enough on the circuit for the intermediate compound tyres. Then Inter's going on for the Kick Sauber. Then Smithy also onto the intermediates in the pit lane as well. My goodness me, then there's going to be all sorts of chopping and changing then throughout these laps. Then Sam up into P6 now on the hard compound tyres. Then wow. So is Styles gaining then is the question then, and I think he is gaining then on Dynamo Dan then, potentially, maybe not through that chicane, but now into the rest of the lap. Then we'll wait and see then what Styles is up to then as we go through then into Tozer. Then the gap is coming down then for Styles, so I do think potentially the intermediate compound tyres then are starting to be, or very slowly starting to be, a good tyre then for this part of the race then. And, well, that's going to be great news indeed for those who went on the intermediate compound tyres. It's not going to be great news at all for those who are still on the dry compound tyres, of course, as we head up the hill. Then Slayer and Mushroom then on the intermediate compound tyres. Then Mushroom's in the pits for the intermediates. Then Slayer's up into P13 and looking to push on as well here. Then Umabro and Smithy. Then Umabro's lost out. Then we've got a problem then for a McLaren. It's not Housey. It's San. Then San on the dry tyres. Then so dry tyres starting to struggle here. Then in the last few laps then of Imola as well. Then goodness me. Then this is going to get crazy indeed in the pit. Then Winnie's in the pit lane. Then for the Ferrari team. Then from P2 on the grid. Then is Dynamo Dan coming in. Then Dynamo Dan stays out. Then he's up into P2 now, and he's going to have to hope that the dry compound tyres hold on then. But Star Wars is gaining on him so quickly indeed. Then Mr. Elite and Winnie in the pit lane for the intermediate compound tyres, I would imagine as well. Then will San get himself into the pits as well then after this lap? Then into the first Ravazza we go then. Surely you can't struggle on then in these conditions. Then he's lost a bit of the end plate then for San as well. Then that might help with the downforce, to be fair, in these wet conditions. And he is staying out as well then for San. So there we go then on to lap 27. Then 5 laps to go then at the end of this one. Then where will Mr. Elite come out then? The driver of the day is in the comment section then. But unfortunately they've forgotten that Rocket League is not in the race anymore. So that's unfortunate indeed then. But fair play indeed for Rocket League to be himself on pole position once again. Then it was a fantastic still been qualifying lap, to be fair, indeed as well. Instead then intermediate compound tyres, then same for Jake Slayer, then same for Real Ashton as well then as they come out of the pit lane here. Wow, it's all over the place. Then we've got 2 drivers then staying out then on the hard compound tyres. Then that is San then, who's been passed by Smithy as well then, and that's Dynamo Dan as well then, who is up in P2 then, but he's now under pressure from Styles then as well, who's on the intermediate compound tyres. Then Real Ashton coming out the pit lane in P15, just about then. Good stuff indeed. Hungry Styles then all over the back then of Dynamo Dan as we head through into lap 28 then of 32. Then Dynamo Dan is coming into the pit lane, but he's going to have lost a lot of time with all of that then on the extra lap there for the hard compound tyres then. And will San have to come into the pit lane as well? Then we expect so, because the rain is worsening here in the next few laps as well. Then I'd imagine San struggling out of traction out of the final chicane there. Dynamo Dan then, where is Stephen Anthony, his teammate? Then he's under pressure from Rosa Sky. These two are battling down the main straight. Then Rosa Sky takes P3. Stephen Anthony down to P4. Dynamo Dan then is going to lose out then to the Alpine of Mr. Elite as well here on the exit of the pit lane. Then there we go. And then there is the Ferrari of Winnie behind us then, but Dynamo Dan has got himself going and up to speed quickly enough then to stay ahead of the Ferrari for the time being. There we are then, intermediate conditions then to end off this Grand Prix. Then we started with intermediate conditions and we're going to end with intermediate conditions as well. Then my goodness me, the gap then 14 seconds for Reflection, who stalled off in the distance in these intermediate conditions. He is absolutely loving it. DRS has been disabled. It's definitely intermediate compound tyre time now, as there we are then, 18 seconds back then in P3 is Rosa Sky. Then he's got Stephen Anthony for company as well here. Chlorine Pilot has left the session then. Unfortunately he pit and quit then in the dry conditions then, so maybe he was ruined the chances now that he could have been on the right tyre at the right time and got himself back up into the points paying positions then for Chlorine Pilot. Then Mr. Elite then P5, then Dynamo Dan in P6. He's been chased down by Winnie. Then Dynamo Dan's not got the heat in the tyres then at this point then, of course, after that very late stop there into the Tamburello chicane. Then Winnie all over the back of the Williams driver, then heading through into sector 3 now. And my goodness me, then San is staying out. Fair play to San, to be fair. He is staying out then on the dry compound, and wow, if he can get it to the line then in the points paying positions, then a fair play indeed then. But he's going to have to do 3 more laps then at the end of this one then, as Winnie then all over the back of Dynamo Dan then onto the main straight, then onto lap 29 then, as we head down towards turn 1. Then Winnie is going to be pushing that Williams then down into the chicane, I think, here, as we go through then in towards turn 1. And it's late on the brakes then from Winnie. There's a yellow flag then. It's a kick salvo. I think it's Rosa Sky then. Rosa Sky's off the circuit. He's lost out to Stephen Anthony. He's lost out to Mr. Elite here. And my goodness me, then I need to switch to the penalties, don't I? Goodness me. There's 12 seconds for Winnie. There's 9 seconds for Jake the Slayer and for Stead, and that's that, I think, there, as Mr. Elite seems to be jumping about a bit there. But there we are then. Rosa Sky, as San has dropped down, then San is having oh, he's in the pits. That's why, thank goodness. Yeah, it wasn't working out then for San then, was it? Those dry compound tyres then, it was just too wet then on the circuit for San, unfortunately. Then he's now on intermediate compounds and back underway. But yes, my goodness me, Goddard's then sneaks into the points paying positions now. Good stuff indeed then. Hello Housley then and Vintage carrying on as well. Fair play indeed to those two. As we've got in the background there, we've got Winnie then all over the back of the Williams of Dynamo Dan, then through the Tamburello chicane. Then Winnie with 12 seconds of penalties. Then it might be worth, even if Dynamo Dan doesn't want to risk anything, letting the Ferrari go through then, because he's going to be able to jump him back then with the penalty situation into the end of lap 32. We've got 3 laps to go then in this Grand Prix then. And my goodness me, then it's getting tense indeed. Then not out in front. Then it seems Reflection is looking quite comfortable indeed, I should say. But Reflection's looking quite comfortable. But Winnie then and Dynamo Dan then once again having a duel then in towards turn 1. Then Winnie has gone through and up into P6 then, but of course with 12 seconds of penalty then he'll lose out to Dynamo Dan still then, and he will lose out to his teammate as well, to be fair, of Smithy Almighty then, both of them keeping it clean then. No penalties then so far. I might have jinxed it already, but that's too bad. Serious Mushroom will get himself up into a decent points haul as well then, with no penalties here as well then. But that is the situation there as well then. Into the position changes, and we've got this man here, Rosa Sky, then in the championship contention. Then P18 at the start of the race. Then I think that's Mr. Vintage just letting people through there. P18 at the start of the race. Then after a dismal qualifying performance then from the kick Sauber then, but he's got himself up into P5 now. As Stephen Anthony picks up a penalty, then that could be costly indeed. As we go through into the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, I should say. Then heading through into the Tamburello chicane now. Umabro has joined. I'm not quite sure. I didn't see Umabro leave, to be fair, but hopefully he can get himself back in. He's still in the points paying positions for the time being as well, which isn't too bad indeed as well here. Now down the hill then we've got Mr. Elite then putting the pressure on Stephen Anthony, then penalty situation there. Driver of the day candidates then indeed, then Mr. Elite, then Rosa Sky as well, then both Serious Mushroom then and Jake the Slayer have done a good job as well here in this Grand Prix. Penalty situation then 6 seconds then for Stephen Anthony would take him off the podium and put Mr. Elite back on that podium as well then. But my goodness me, Steads picks up a penalty as well then. Here comes Mr. Elite then on the attack then. He's got no, oh dear, they're going to squeeze each other then into the first turn. Then they've just about got themselves through, but that has cost them a bit of time as well then, heading through into the first chicane then. And Stephen Anthony down to P4 now for the time being then. But of course, like I said, the penalty situation then was in Mr. Elite and Rosa Sky's favour as well then. But still on the cards for a fantastic result here for all 3 drivers as well, to be fair. Out in front then 16 seconds. Reflection has been having a great race out there as well then, hasn't he? Styles as well has kept it all clean then, and thankfully no punctures then in sight then for Styles as well this time, and looking to get himself back on the podium places after the escapades then in Miami then, which was very, very heartbreaking indeed. And there we are then into Aqua Minerale then on the penultimate lap. Then Stephen Anthony then is pushing that car as hard as he can then, and Rosa Sky is looking to try and sneak along through into the Tamburello chicane. There's almost contact between the two of them there, but they have he's backed off then. I think he's thought very wisely about that. And there we go then, heading on to lap 32, the final lap of the Grand Prix. In the background then, there is Winnie, there is Dynamo Dan, there is Smithy then, so they could be in contention for a few more places here with the penalty situation for those ahead of them as well then, so we'll have to wait and see then how that's going to play out. But as we head on to the final lap of the Grand Prix then, it's been a fantastic performance then as well from all drivers, and still in this Grand Prix. The Goddard has had an issue though, unfortunately for Goddard. It's all coming unravelled, I should say, in this final stint as well then for the Goddards then, but fair play indeed for soldiering on it as well as Hello Housley as well then, and Vintage are doing a great job out there as well at this point of the race then. But here is there we go, here is the race leader heading through then into the final sector for the final time then is Reflection, and he has been absolutely phenomenal in this race, heading through the final chicane then. No penalties as well then for Reflection. Then he's going to come down the hill then into the first of the Ravazzas for the final time, and he's going to win the, I'm not going to say it just yet, I don't want to curse him, into the first Ravazza then for Reflection then, and now into the second Ravazza for the final time then. The final corner then has been completed then for Reflection, up to the line then. Reflection wins the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Round 6 of Bronze Season 10 has gone to the Aston Martin driver then. A fantastic performance indeed then here in Imola then, in very, very interchangeable conditions, let's just say the least then. A wet start then to the dry compound, back to the wets then, and Reflection has been unfazed by it all and takes home that win then for the Aston Martin team. Brilliant result then for Reflection then. Hungry Styles then, a fantastic result as well then in P2 then. a brilliant result then, bouncing back then from the heartbreak then of Miami last week, then has got himself back into the top 3 positions as well here. Brilliant result then for Hungry Styles. Then Mr. Elite then is looking to bring home that P3 for the Alpine team. He will bring home that P3 for the Alpine team. Rosa Sky then a driver of the day candidate indeed in P4. Then Miss Stephen Anthony then has had an issue somewhere because he's dropped down. No, he hasn't. He's just dropped down with the penalties then. Stephen Anthony then down to P6 with Smithy Almighty up into P5. Then Dynamo Dan P7 in the end for the championship league. Then winning P8 in the end as well there. My goodness me. It's all over the place then, isn't it? But there we are then, as we get ourselves in. Get your last minute votes in then for Drive of the Day. So I'm on for Drive of the Day then, said Rocket Lee. Yes, well, to be fair, the qualifying deserved it on its own, to be fair, I think. Mushroom up into P9 in the end, then ahead of Jake the Slayer, then his biggest points paying position of the season, say that quickly. But Jake the Slayer then up into P10 as well. The Umapro then back in the car, then P11 in the end as well. Then Stead on Marsky, then P12, then Stead in P13, I think, in the end there. But into the points paying positions on his debut is not too shabby indeed. So there we are then. That is the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix done and dusted. We'll get ourselves, if you can please mute yourself, please. We'll get ourselves through the classification then to get the all 20 drivers then classified for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And there is the podium drivers there. Reflection, on the top step for Aston Martin. Then Hungry Styles in the Racing Bull P2 then. And of course, Mr. Lee in the Alpine in P3. And there we are. We'll run through that classification and get the interviews underway then in just a jiffy. But I knew a podium then. I blew a podium, says Rosa, then by focusing on Ghost Car then. And unlucky then for Rosa, but still a fantastic result then. Driver of the day performance indeed from my point of view as well. Then I think both Stephen Anthony and Styles then have got themselves a candidate for a vote for driver of the day as well there. But there we are then as we go through the classification. There is a reflection on the top step with Styles P2 and Mr. Elite P3, Rosa Sky in P4, Smithy in P5s, and Stephen Anthony and Dodd McDown for Williams then P6 and 7 respectively. Then Winnie P8, Mushroom in P9, then Jake the Slayer in P10, Mabro P11, Real Ashton again in the points paying position P12, then Marvsky P13, Stead in P14 on his debut, San rounds off the points paying positions, Goddard's P16, Halsey then in P18 and Vintage in P17 and Vintage in P19, and unfortunately Rocket Lee and Chlorine Pilot then were pit and quit. Certainly they're not in the classification, but there you go. Right then. We'll get some lovely interviews underway, shall we? We'll start off then with our... firstly, we'll start off with checking who's in the commentary box. We'll start off then with Mr. Elite then. Mr. Elite then, P3 today then. Did you expect that on the starting grid then as you lined up then for this race?
I definitely did not, Alex. No, I was very happy with that. It was much needed. So, yeah, I've had a couple of bad races recently. Came back from holiday and I just felt so slow. I had a great start in Australia, as you know, got third. And then just noticed that everyone caught up. So I really had to come along and do something today, and I did. So I was really happy with that, and I managed to stick it out on the hards. So until the rain came out, and then go on to the intermediates. So that was lucky. So yeah, very happy with that.
And we didn't know, we weren't expecting it, but we didn't see the intermediate coming back for the final few laps of that race. Was that something in the planner then that you were aware of, or did that just take you by surprise towards those last few laps?
It took me by surprise. I mean, like I say, I was trying to get to the hards, keep on those for as long as possible, and then yeah, luckily the rain came down as hard as it did, and I knew I could just get on those intermediates and take it through to the end. Thankfully, it was actually the best I did in terms of penalties. I managed to only get 3 seconds, which in Imola is really surprising for me. Usually I get about 12 or 16 seconds, something like that. So yeah, no, but it wasn't planned, Alex, definitely not. But I took it, so yeah, there we go.
Sometimes the most unexpected things work out in the right way then, but a fantastic podium tonight then as well then. And what does that mean for the championship then in terms of you getting yourself further up there as well then? You're currently, I think it's P8 in the championship then for the time being, but a fantastic podium tonight then could elevate those positions a few more then into potentially a championship fight potentially. We'll find out.
I don't know about that. I think, lots of Styles and a couple other guys up there. I think, is it Reflection, Dynamo Dan, fan. They're a different gravy, to be honest. Like I said, I came back from holiday. I thought I was really happy with my third in Australia, and then I came back and I felt so slow. So yeah, I think tonight was a little bit of luck, and I'll just continue to do that and continue to go away and practice. And then hopefully just try and get high up in the grid as possible in the quali, and then continue to do the same in the race, and then just see where I come. But top 10, get there first, then top 5, and then if I have any chance of getting near the top 3, then that'd be great. So we'll just see what happens.
Fair play indeed, and congratulations tonight. Then another podium then
Thank you,
for
mate.
Mr. Elite. Hungry Styles is in the party once again. Then another interview for Hungry Styles. Then we were hoping to interview last week, but there was something I don't know. I can't remember what happened now. Yeah. Anyway, so a fantastic P2 tonight. Then did you expect a podium then for yourself tonight, or was it not on the cards then at the beginning of the race?
I didn't expect it. I thought because I was struggling before the race with practice, so but I was surprised to see I was on the podium and to see I got P2 as well because Rocket Lee was fast as well. So, but he was unlucky, I think.
And on your race yourself as well, then did you plan for the strategy to unfold the way it did, or did you have to adapt it on the fly sort of thing?
I knew it was raining at the end, so I was waiting long with the hearts to not pit too soon because I know it's gonna rain again. So I waited till maybe one lap too soon. I pitted, I think. But yeah, I pitted and I was like 20 seconds ahead. I think it's no problem. I can just take my time now and go to the finish line.
And another podium on the cards, and potentially, I'm not sure, I can't do the maths, but you might be back up into those P3 positions that you were so scared of earlier on this season. But you've done a fantastic job tonight then to get yourself back in contention as well there. What's your plans then for the
Yeah.
rest of the season? Is it just race by race, or are you looking to try and get yourself in the top 3?
Yes, I'm gonna try to do race by race, and we will see till the last race. If I'm still in the top three, then I'm gonna fight for that top three spot, and we will see.
Great stuff
Everything
indeed.
can happen, so I can DNF or everything can happen.
You could get a puncture on the last lap, but you never know. No, that doesn't happen
Yeah,
very often, does
yeah,
it? But no, well
yes.
done indeed. Then Styles then P2 tonight then as well then, and our race winner then Reflection is also here, I believe, and Reflection there from from P2 on the grid then of course with your teammate. But a controlled race then once you took the lead then how did that race go from your point of view?
Tricky. There were tricky conditions going from wet to dry to wet. Um, but I got a good launch off the line, and when I saw my teammate go too deep, which I wasn't planning on overtaking him anyway, I was just planning on just following him round. And when he went too deep, I just took the lead and then just tried to control my own pace. And just noticed that I was gradually just tenth by tenth just pulling away from Hungry Styles. So I was pretty happy with that, considering I'm not very good in the wet. I do absolutely no practice in the wet at all.
But it
So
worked out in the end as well. You had some great pace in both conditions, to be fair as well. Then, and when you had that gap towards the end, even when it went on to the intermediate compound tyres, were you confident that the race win was still in the bag, or were you a bit concerned going back onto those intermediate compounds?
no, I was confident. Once I realised I had like a 12 to 13 second gap, I was pretty confident. I just every corner I was just sticking the ARS in none to just have maximum traction. And I was short shifting to death to make sure I didn't spin up the wheels with running no traction. So I just kept it calm, and the laps couldn't come quick enough. I was counting them down. So it was a good race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And GG to the other two, Mr. Elite and Hungry Styles as well. It's good to see them on the podium.
Great stuff indeed, and congratulations then to our race winner then, Reflection, to round off Emilia Romagna then for gold, silver and bronze, and we'll be back in action next week for Spain, but of course there's 100% action tomorrow night in Bahrain where we're using preset setups only, so stay tuned for that tomorrow night. That'll be pretty exciting stuff indeed. So yeah, we'll see you soon then on the ALR channel then. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next race.
Right, GG boys, thanks Alex, and I'll catch you